Friends, our mission today is quite simple. In the next 10 hours, we want to try 10 most iconic Turkish desserts.
And to make it a little bit more interesting, we have 3 rules.
Rule number 1, we can only eat sweet things the whole day. Rule number 2, we have to finish everything that is served to us on a table. And rule number 3, since we're in Türkiye, then the only drink we can consume the whole day is Turkish tea.
And every time we break any one of those rules, we're gonna have to pick up 1 bag of trash after this challenge.
Let's get started.
Let's go!
It took us about 30 minutes to get from our campsite at Euphrates River to Gaziantep. But once we arrived, we were hungry and ready for the challenge. Since we have not had breakfast today, we're gonna start today with something familiar, something that's my favorite Turkish dessert. The first thing on the list was künefe, a unique dessert of cheese, crunchy dough and syrup. Just look at Liisu over there. I've never seen her so focused, like she's been standing 15 minutes there just watching how the food is being made. Thanks to the early hours of the day, we were lucky enough to see the whole process of making Turkish desserts. It was really quite beautiful to see the sugar syrup flow in streams, the work of a chef who's done this job for a decade, and the sweet smell that filled our lungs made us feel even hungrier. As we sat down to eat, we realized right away that there was a conflict in our rules. That looks like trouble. We got served milk, but we were only allowed to drink tea. Well, if we already got a punishment from the first place, then how many would we have by the end of the day? But being honest with you, it didn't bother us that much, since the künefe was one of the best we have ever had. And what made Gaziantep künefe stand out was the liberal use and strong taste of roasted pistachio nuts. With our moods good and bellies full, it was time to continue our challenge. First, of course, we crossed the street illegally. Sorry, I didn't mean illegally. I wanted to say Turkish style. Next up on the list, we have kadayıf. In literal meaning, kadayıf is actually this stringy dough that is a part of many Turkish desserts. But it is also the name of many sweets that mainly consist of this shredded phyllo pastry. What made this dessert shop special was the fact that every pastry was cooked on live fire, and it had a slight smoky flavor. By looking at the color of our kadayıf, the main ingredient was again quite obvious. The taste of pistachios, accompanied by the crunchy kadayıf dough, plus clotted cream and ice cream on the side to balance the sweetness. This experience was magical. It really was darn tasty. And of course, once again, drinking milk meant a punishment for us. And after a load of sweets like this, I went for the second cup of tea as my body was screaming for liquids. I didn't expect it to be so hard, and the scary part was, it was just the second dessert of the day. As we left the shop, I discovered myself from a thought. As kids, many of us probably dreamed about being able to eat sweets the whole day. God knows I did. And I'm quite sure 7-year-old me would be super proud of me. But I'm not that sure about what me 7 hours from now would think about it. It's probably the worst video idea we have ever had. I feel sick, and it's a miracle if we don't get diabetes from eating that many sweets. Third on our list was kabak tatlisi, or in English, pumpkin dessert. It is not as famous as the first 2 we just had tried, but is a good example of how diverse Turkish dessert culture actually is. Pieces of such sweetened pumpkins were served with tahini and hazelnuts on top. It was probably the sweetest thing I had tried in my whole life. It was crunchy at first, but once it broke down in my mouth, the sweet syrup overran my taste buds. And tahini really did not help, because it just made the sweetness stick to our mouths. Well, and this time even tea did not help. Third dessert I don't think we are able to finish that one.
And third punishment. It was going to be a rough cleaning day for us if we kept on going at this speed. After the pumpkin, it was clear that this video idea might not have been as smart as we thought. We were feeling sick from the sugar, and before next restaurant we took a long detour to walk off some of the calories.
Well, next up, the most famous dessert of this region and one of the most famous in whole Türkiye, baklava.
This restaurant, Kocak, has gotten many prizes for their desserts and has been awarded the title of best baklava in the world. The appearance of the place shows it.
I'm not sure if I've ever been to so fancy a restaurant, not talking about dessert place.
It is as big as a hotel, luxury furniture, high ceilings and huge dining rooms. Yet the restaurant serves only one thing: baklava. Hard to imagine such a place in Europe, only serving apple pie, for example. As soon as we tasted the sweets, it was obvious that the awards had gone to the right restaurant. This baklava was perfect balance of crispy phyllo dough, pistachio filling, and somehow even the sugar syrup was smoother than we were used to. Without a doubt, it was the best baklava we had ever had. It was a great experience, and we both agreed that the awards were very well deserved. After having this iconic dessert, we started seeing baklava places everywhere. On the street of about 1.5 kilometers or 1 mile, we counted at least 20. But I guess it is just part of the magic of Gaziantep, the city known as the world's pistachio capital. The fifth thing on the list was a Turkish classic, local ice cream called Tandurma. Surprisingly, it was quite hard to find due to the November weather. For us northerners, 20 degrees outside pretty much means summer. What makes Turkish ice cream unique is its creamy texture and resistance to melting. The thing that stops it from melting is called salep, a flower made of special orchid species. Due to the big market of Turkish ice cream, the orchid species are actually endangered now, and Turkish government has made it illegal to export salep, which means that Turkish ice cream is pretty much banned in other countries. So make sure to have a taste of it while visiting. Our sixth dessert was again to prove that local sweets are more than just syrup and crispy dough.
And now, once again, something different, something that is not made of pistachios. Hello! Merhaba!
Sütlaç is a sort of rice pudding that was popular already in Ottoman times. It's a mix of unsweetened pudding on the bottom and sweetened one on top.
It's very refreshing next to the pastry syrupy stuff.
And once again, Turkish people just had to show us kindness, and their hospitality of offering us basil sherbet meant another punishment for us. We were also taught a correct way to eat this rice pudding, and as the tastes were not too sweet, we left this restaurant with newfound hope. Maybe it was actually possible to have 10 desserts in one day. Quickly we headed for the market to grab some famous Turkish delight. You probably know how it tastes yourself, right? And if not, Turkish Lokum, it's like a chewy jelly, and they make it in all tastes and colors. Most popular, I would say, is the pink one made of rose water. And many people like the rose one. But for hillbillies like myself, it reminds a little bit of an air freshener. As we were looking for the 8th dessert on the list, something bad happened. From the outside, nothing had changed, but as last 2 desserts had been small and not overly sweet, we got hit by one of the worst sugar crashes of our lives. As the sugar left our bloodstream, we got grumpy and wanted to quit the challenge.
And I have to say that it's the worst video idea we have ever had, and it's gonna be a miracle if we don't get diabetes from eating that many sweets.
As we were already walking towards home, luckily this restaurant found us. a place that sold exactly what we were after. Katmer. Seeing this dessert made is a sight by itself. The dough is thrown in the air time after time and handled until it's paper thin. Then clotted cream, sugar and a generous amount of pistachios is added.
And this puff of green pistachios is like the signature of Gaziantep.
It was again served to us with milk, resulting in a punishment. But the combination of cold milk and warm katmer out of a wood oven was extraordinary. It was so good indeed that Liisu got herself a new favorite dessert.
I think it might be my favorite Turkish dessert.
And the way this crunchy and creamy dessert made us feel gave us hope and energy to continue the challenge. Oh, but it did not end there. This restaurant also had another surprise for us.
So what just happened was that the boys did not accept our money. They said it was a gift. It just feels incredible. It makes us feel so special that they just want to share their art of making food. And I would say, let's just add 2 bags of trash to the count. Just to say thank you back. They're incredible.
With this newfound energy, we quickly found a place that sold lokma. These deep-fried balls of dough, which are then soaked in syrup, and of course in Gaziantep, dipped in pistachios, are again one of the most popular desserts in the country. Sweet, crunchy, syrupy. Their taste is nothing that special, but as I said, they can be bought in almost every bakery shop in the whole country.
Yeah, it was once again free, so don't know how else to repay kindness than
As the sun was falling down over our heads, we wanted to quickly find the last and 10th dessert. And the place we found really shows the true nature of Turkish dessert culture. Desserts are so popular amongst Turks that they eat them every day. For us as Northerners, we have desserts maybe once or twice a month, on birthdays, holidays, and yes, sometimes when we just feel sad. But here, it's an everyday thing, and a small random shop on a street corner just proves how popular such things really are. Last thing we bought was called sarma. It literally translates into wrapped or rolled, and that's exactly what it is. A hazelnut cream rolled into crispy dough and soaked with sugar syrup.
But this video isn't over yet, because we still have to deal with the punishment, and that's why I'm gonna do a... Friends, for our punishment, we came back to the place where we filmed the beginning of the video. It's one of our favorite spots where we had camped.
And just like this, finally, we had completed the stupidest challenge of our lives.
Not the big fan of heights.
As we slowly kept filling the bags of trash, we thought back on the experience with Turkish desserts. Although having 10 desserts in one day was without a doubt a really stupid thing to do, then still, we felt nice to have been able to taste all of those treats, so common to local culture. And if I had to give advice to other travelers, then I would say, of course, go ahead and taste Turkish desserts. Taste as many as you can, but please, limit yourself to 1 per day, because most of them are extremely sweet and filling.
We got 9 here. We got an extra hand over there.
Oh, and I just have to say that by the end of this challenge, we already managed to include 1 local in our mission, which made us extremely proud. Because for such big causes, every pair of hands counts.
8, 9. You know what? Let's do 1 more. I know our punishment is actually less than 10, but we wanted to extra to just show that cleaning up nature is not punishment. We like doing it. But friends, it was incredibly awesome sharing this experience with you today. Yes, we're never gonna eat that many sweets again, but we are happy that we did. And in the next one, we will tell you an incredible story of how this land here was the cradle of human civilization. Until then, go ahead and check out that playlist here, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.